Some things in this world have never been explained. Some people step into the darkness and never return. And some truths remain buried in time, unwilling to be uncovered. This account originates from a bizarre, unsolved disappearance case in 2009. The hotel involved has been abandoned for years, and to this day, no one dares to step inside. In November 2009, a solo traveler named Richard D. went missing in a remote hotel in northern Oregon. His whereabouts remain unknown. Police investigations revealed that his last known sighting occurred within 24 hours of checking into room 13. The hotel, known as the Red Pine Inn, was built in 1952 and operated until its closure in 2011 due to a series of unsettling incidents. Every guest who had stayed in room 13 later reported experiencing some degree of strange occurrences. According to the hotel's check-in records, Richard was one of the few guests who spent an entire night inside room 13 without stepping out. On the night of November 17, 2009, Richard checked in at the front desk at 8:43 p.m. Surveillance footage clearly recorded him entering the room. However, things took a strange turn at 3 a.m. the following morning. At 3:17 a.m., the surveillance footage showed the door to room 13 opening by itself. No one was seen exiting. After approximately 30 seconds, the door slowly shut again, as if an unseen force had pushed it. Even more bizarrely, at 3:23 a.m., the room's lights began flickering at irregular intervals. This continued for about 2 minutes before the lights went completely dark. The night manager, Amy Walker, was the only witness to the incident. Around 3 a.m., she entered the security room and happened to notice the strange footage. Alarmed, she decided to check the second floor. However, as she approached room 13, she felt an intense chill. During her interview with the police, Amy recalled, "The entire second-floor hallway was eerily silent, too silent. Not even the sound of the wind. When I got closer to room 13, the door suddenly shook violently, as if someone inside had slammed against it. But I didn't hear any voices. The light seeping from the gap under the door flickered strangely, like something was moving rapidly inside." Amy was too frightened to knock. Instead, she stood at the door for a moment, listening. She described hearing a deep buzzing sound, similar to old electrical equipment humming, yet mixed with faint breathing, almost as if something was crouched behind the door, listening to her breathe. Seconds later, the sound abruptly stopped. The room fell into a dead silence. Feeling a growing sense of unease, Amy quickly turned and left, hurrying back to the security room. However, upon checking the surveillance feed again, the footage of room 13 had gone completely black. At 10 a.m., the hotel's housekeeping staff entered room 13 for cleaning, only to find it empty. Richard was gone, but his luggage and phone remained in the room. His phone was completely drained, and the last recorded call was from the previous night. The police investigation concluded there were no signs of struggle in the room. The window was locked, making escape impossible. The door's chain lock was still in place, yet there were no signs that it had been opened from the inside. What was even more chilling was that, the day after Richard's disappearance, the hotel's front desk received a mysterious envelope with no return address. Inside was a single, blurry black and white photograph. The image depicted a dimly lit hotel room with an unmade bed. The bedsheet was slightly pulled back, revealing a pale hand peeking from beneath it. The police attempted to trace the origin of the envelope, but no fingerprints or DNA were found on it. To this day, How it was delivered remains unknown. The legend of Room 13 dates back to the 1970s. Rumors suggest that this room was never part of the original hotel design and was mysteriously added in 1975 for unknown reasons. A local elderly resident mentioned in a 2013 interview, "When the hotel first opened, there was no Room 13. The second floor rooms skipped straight from 12 to 14. Then, sometime around 1975, they suddenly converted Room 14 into Room 13. A lot of us old folks knew that something bad happened back then, but no one dared to talk about it." Police archives confirm that in 1975, a 21-year-old woman died under mysterious circumstances inside the hotel. The details of the case were vague, and it was ultimately ruled an accidental death. Strangely, her time of death was also around 3 a.m. To this day, Richard D.'s disappearance remains an unsolved mystery, and the chilling occurrences in Room 13 have never been explained. The hotel officially shut down in 2011, and the entire building was sealed off. However, for some reason, the door plate of Room 13 was never removed. Locals claim that even when the hotel is completely dark at night, a faint light can still be seen seeping from under the door of Room 13. In 2015, a group of urban explorers secretly entered the abandoned hotel, hoping to uncover the truth about Room 13. However, their footage abruptly cut off right after they stepped into the room. Since then, no one has dared to enter again.
Some things are never meant to be forgotten. They have always been there, waiting for someone to pick up the phone. In 1997, on the corner of a small town in Illinois, residents were shocked to discover a mysterious black phone booth standing on what had once been an empty sidewalk. No one knew when it had been built, and town records held no evidence of any construction. Even stranger, the booth's design seemed far older than any of the town's existing public phones, more like something from the 1950s or 60s. At first, no one paid much attention to it. After all, public payphones were already becoming obsolete. But soon, things took a strange turn. The phone started ringing by itself. One rainy night, Jack, a bar manager, was walking home as usual. The streets were silent, except for the sharp, persistent ringing from inside the phone booth. The sound echoed down the empty street, almost as if urging someone to answer. Hesitating for a moment, Jack stepped inside and picked up the receiver. Silence. No one spoke, but he could hear a faint, distorted noise, static mixed with something else, something resembling heavy breathing. Frowning, Jack cautiously said, "Hello?" A low, raspy voice responded, "Are you listening?" Jack froze, his pulse quickening. He instinctively glanced around. The street was empty. But in the glass reflection of the phone booth, he had the eerie feeling that he wasn't alone. Taking a deep breath, he whispered, "Who are you?" The voice paused for a moment, then dropped to an almost inaudible murmur, "I'm right behind you." Jack stiffened and turned around, but the booth was empty. Then, in the reflection of the phone's glass panel, he saw it. A shadowy figure, standing just behind him, slowly drawing closer. With a terrified shout, Jack bolted out of the phone booth. When he turned back, the receiver was gently swaying as if someone had just placed it back. The street fell silent once again. Jack's experience was dismissed as a hallucination, and the incident was soon forgotten. But days later, a local high school student, Tommy Wilson, answered the same phone and vanished without a trace. That night, Tommy had been out with friends when the phone started ringing. Amused, he stepped inside to answer. His friends saw him freeze, as if something had entranced him. "Tommy? What are you doing?" One of them tapped on the glass. No response. They pushed open the booth's door, and then a collective gasp. Tommy was gone. The booth was empty. The receiver hung loosely, swaying slightly, as if someone had just let go. The police searched the entire area but found no trace of Tommy. The phone booth had no call records, and even the phone company had no record of its existence. Rumors spread quickly. People whispered that this was no ordinary phone booth, it was a trap. It waited for someone to answer, and then it took them. 3 months later, a young journalist named Emily arrived in town to investigate. She combed through every file she could find, but there were no substantial records of the phone booth. The only thing she uncovered was a single tape recording found in the police archives, its origin unknown. Emily played the tape. At first, only a faint humming sound. Then, a young boy's voice, "Hello, is someone there?" Silence. Then, a deep voice whispered, "Are you listening?" Emily's breath caught in her throat. Jack had heard those exact words years ago. The boy on the tape hesitated. Who are you?" A low chuckle. Then the voice answered, "I'm right behind you." What followed was a sharp intake of breath, then hurried, frantic breathing, whispers she couldn't quite make out. Then, a final, terrified scream. The recording cut off. Then, absolute silence. Emily's hands trembled as she stopped the tape. Her palms were sweaty, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. What she didn't realize was that in the reflection of the bookshelf's glass panel behind her, a shadowy figure was slowly drawing closer. In the months that followed, 3 more people vanished near the phone booth. The police finally decided to tear it down. But no matter how they tried to destroy it, the booth remained untouched. Out of desperation, the town sealed it off with a concrete wall. The next morning, it was gone. Vanished without a trace, as if it had never existed. The only proof left behind was that single mysterious tape in the police archives. The town slowly moved on, and over time, people forgot. Until, 10 years later, a black phone booth appeared on the corner of another small town.